Got there. 6 to win, 4 for a super over.
G'day and welcome to the Game Day Squad Fantasy Cricket Show. I'm Dill, that's Stu, and we are the Fantasy Bros. We're obviously down a bro today. Christmas commitments has taken one of the greats, but I'm sure he will be watching along and he'll be back better than ever. Obviously, Christmas just around the corner. When this comes out, it will be Boxing Day, so plenty happening. No doubt you'll be sitting watching some Boxing Day cricket. I know it'll be a massive time for a lot of people enjoying some leftovers from Christmas Day. By the time this episode drops, I reckon the Aussies are probably 300 for none, and they're probably sitting back having some nice lunch there over at the Boxing Day test. But what a day it will be. Boxing Day into Boxing Day BBL. We've got a double header, not to mention it is a double prize round as well for Game Day Squad. How good is that? Look, before we jump into those two games and we preview what we can without the squads necessarily, as I said, we are pre-recording this and it will come out to you on Boxing Day. Stu, mate, how did you go in round 4?
Yeah, g'day, Dill. G'day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's probably a busy time of the year, spending time with friends and family. I hope you've had a wonderful couple of days during the festive season and hope your Game Day squads are going along nicely and hopefully a little bit better than mine from round 4, actually. 12th for Challenger was my best finishing for the week. Just outside the top 20 in Champion and a disappointing 40th in Classic. So down on the overall in terms of the weekly ranks, but still there or thereabouts on the overall ranks. Currently 5th in Champion and 8th in Challenger. So I want to be there come the end of the season. That means I'll get another prize card, which is fantastic. So yeah, got my hopes set on that. Disappointing round, but still there or thereabouts. And speaking about overall leaderboards, Deal, we almost had 4 on the show. Obviously, you, me, and Haz. Yeah. We did try to talk Pity into joining us and having the 4 of us, because obviously those two are going to be talking some AFL next season. But he said his cricket knowledge wasn't really up to par. I think he might have been lying to us. He's currently 6th on the overall leaderboard in Challenger. So yeah, well done to whose bat is it? Look, if he keeps tuning into the round preview shows, he's probably going to stay there. Good on you, Pity. Well done, mate. Dill, how'd you fare in round 4?
Yeah, look, just before I talk about where I'm at in terms of results, great work from Pity. Remember as well that is the top 5 that will be in prize card territory, as well as that there's also the Fez rule in place where no coach can win 2 cards from the core competitions. They can potentially win the GDS Cup, which we'll talk about soon, as well as one of the core competitions. But if that's the case, if you, for example, get 4th in Champion and I am 6th and the player below you also wins a card somewhere else, I bump up into 5th and I might get a prize card there. So that's important to note as you're watching and continuing along the season, that you're never out of it. There's always an opportunity to win a prize card. And look, that's where I'm aiming for as well. My round 4 ranks were not too much better than yours. I somehow dropped all the way down to 50th in Classic for the rounds, which was a bit dismal. But my big redeeming feature this week was my Challenger team actually came 7th. And my Challenger team generally now, at a point 4 rounds in, is where I put all my pods and just hope for the best. And obviously quite a few pods came off for me this week, and including Sammy Constas there. They had a big game. Champion is 24th for the round. I'm just outside that top 5 for season overall. Like I said, I think if my math is correct, I'm only 7 points off the prize card at the moment as well. So, look, there's plenty to play for me, and there's plenty to play for everyone else. You can obviously see the Fantasy Bros continue to have success, both weekly and season long, across all forms of the Oz cricket competition. And, look, there's so much more to play with now, especially with the GDS Cup round 1 in the books. Stu, I know you haven't had much luck with cups in the past. Please tell us, was this round any different for you?
The GDS Cup results are now on screen for those watching, for those listening. No, you can big red ink there is Stu defeated by the Baggy Greens. So are we following along closely for the Baggy Greens? And hopefully they can go the whole way and take the whole cup out if you or Haz can't get there. Yeah. But yeah, look, 40th overall, I thought, it's not a great overall ranking for the round, but I might still be able to scrape in there and avoid a round 1 exit. like I haven't managed to do in many of the cups over the past season. So I think that's 4 cups now, 3 week 1 exits and 1 week 2 exits. So no, it wasn't to be. 40th overall I actually finished. So a bit annoying hearing that you finished 50th overall, but you still progress, and here's me not making it through. So yeah, you had a nice win there over Spin King. Has defeated Tanger Turtles. He got some redemption for me after Tanger Turtles knocked me out of the Rugby League GDS Cup. And we move on to the fixtures for week 2. Dill, you're up against Captain's 11. Haven't seen too much of Captain's 11 around. Any intel on him? And we got Haz up against the DGs.
No, look, when I first saw the fixtures for week 2, I saw the 11, and I know that our good friend Mian G, who often watches along with us, I know his team name is Mian 11, and I thought it might have been him, but unfortunately it's not. So, yeah, I have no idea about Captain's 11. But look, it just goes to show it doesn't matter what your overall position is at the end of the round. It's all about that head-to-head competition, and that's what makes the GDS Cup so great. For your case, not so great, but it just gives another dimension. You don't have to have the best score in the round, but you could definitely beat your opposition. And so that's such a whole lot of fun. Unfortunately, once again, the curse of the Cup continues for Stu. But, mate, we push on. Look, we push on with our live preview shows. Obviously, today, as we said, this is not live, but we will be continuing to come to you every Monday and Thursday, or most Mondays and Thursdays, with the starts of the new rounds. And look, all of our shows will go through the upcoming round or rounds, depending on what they sort of look like, and we'll highlight our favourite picks from the keeper batsman position, the all-rounder and the bowler positions, before sharing our consensus team of the round. So the Fantasy Bros get their heads together and come up with the consensus team of the round. And then we're also, as always, we're going to have that Bro Down Showdown, and hopefully we've got something for the viewers and listeners on today's show, as well as future shows. So make sure you tune in and comment who you think is going to win Bro Down Showdown, because just like last week, we saw a player come away with a all-star card. You could win any type of card, and all you need to do is comment who you think is going to win. So it's a whole lot of fun. Not to mention, there's still plenty of time to get involved. I know that the season-long competition is underway, but each and every week, all you need to do is put a team in, and you could win some cash and pack prizes. So if you aren't involved yet, make sure you jump onto the GameDay Squad website or download the app. Sign up using our promo code SUMMER, that is SUMMER, all in caps, and that'll get you 3x3 player common packs to start your squad off. That means that essentially you can get into one of those classic or contender competitions straight away, and there's some opportunity to win some prizes, as well as heaps of bronze cards that can get you started in the starter competition. If you want more information about those, head on over to the website and go to the help section on the website. They'll explain all of that. Look, a whole lot of reasons to get involved, but before we jump into the round 5 competition, where we've got the double header, let's jump into our match previews. And there's a lot happening in our match previews. Stu, do you want to take us through what is going on over the next couple of games?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Double header. How good is that going to be? I think 13 or 14 hours straight of cricket. If a whole day 1 of Ashes cricket, Boxing Day test wasn't enough, feast your eyes on 2 Big Bash matches back to back. As soon as one finishes, the other one will start, and there's normally a little bit of a crossover as well. So you're probably watching one on TV and checking some scores on your phone on the other, and then quickly dashing across when the first one finishes. So yeah, absolutely cracking day of cricket. Game 1 is up. What you can see on screen there, we've got the Sixers up against the Melbourne Stars. That'll be played at the SCG. It's a bit of an earlier first ball this evening at 5:05 AEST, so 6:05 New South Wales time, 5:05 here in Queensland. That's obviously to accommodate the later fixture there in Perth, so it's not too late for everyone there, and not too late for everyone to get to bed on the eastern coastline. But yeah, so that'll be at the SCG at 5:05. Now, there is some chance for showers sort of during that day, early afternoon. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that's going to impact the cricket. So just something to be mindful of, that, you know, you might be able to set an alarm for 10 to 5 and just make sure that the toss has, or the bat flip has occurred and teams have been named. We'd hate to, get caught out because a freak sort of thunderstorm or something rolled in. I know it's going to be a busy day for a lot of people there on Boxing Day, but it always pays to check. I don't think we have any issues, but there is a little bit of rain on the radar, so just thought we'd mention that quickly. Righto, the game is played at the SCG. In terms of all player averages, averaged pretty decently at the ground, averaging about 40 GDS points, which is actually the second highest overall. So we should see a pretty nice battle between bat and ball, and all players that we choose to play will hopefully cash in and score plenty of game day squad points. Last season, the Stars allowed an average of 39.2 to Sixers players, and the Sixers limited their opposition a little bit more. The Stars only averaged 35 points, but still pretty close to that 40 mark there. Is quite interesting though. First innings, the batters are scoring 27.3 GDS points, but the batters in the second innings there are scoring just 16.7. So, Dill, if we're around and able to watch the bat flip, should we be looking to input a couple of first innings batters and change our teams around? Or based on the team selected, do you think we just stick strong and not worry too much about that stat, even though it's about 11 points in difference?
I think it's significant, but also you never know what that's going to be like in terms of that rain around. I think that's probably the biggest factor that I'll be looking at. I know there was one game or one round last season where there was a double header. The first game was rained out, and a lot of people put players in from that game. They didn't get their score, and I went and pivoted and just loaded up on that second game, hoping that rain stuck around, and that rain did occur, and it meant that I ended up first because I just played all of those players from the second game. So I'm really tentative about putting too many eggs into one basket and just keeping an eye on that rain. And if it does sort of stick around, the problem is going to be if we don't have that bat flip on time, the GDS lockout still occurs. So it's such a risk playing some players when there's potential rain around. I kind of hope that we have early indications that either, yes, the game is going to go ahead, or no, it's definitely not, and we can make some easy decisions. Otherwise, I think there's going to be a few risky plays potentially. So for me, it's not so much about the match stats or the batting averages that I'm concerned about at the moment. It's more about that rain that's around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Something to think about anyway. I do hope that we don't have any rain impact, so that we can actually just set a squad and not worry too much. We don't want to be having a nice Boxing Day and having to worry too much about, what are we going to do with our teams without the bat flip? Let's hope for a bat flip on time, and we'll deal with some weather later on in the tournament, which I'm sure we will. Am I right in saying that this is a double prize round week as well?
It is a double prize round, and I was going to say, just quietly, I would actually love a bit of chaos. I think I thrive on chaos, so I actually hope that the bat flip is delayed and people are scrambling and they make the wrong decision, because I would love to be involved in the double prize and get a little bit extra on that. But no, of course, no. It leads to my argument of every cricket match in Australia should be played inside a dome, and we should just put a roof on every ground, and it means that we get maximum amount of overs and games played in the Big Bash. I think maybe get me on the Oz Cricket board and we can sort that out.
Rightio, game 2. The whole round 5 is one and done and one in inside that 6 hours. So by the end of Friday evening, we should know just about who's going to come on top when lockout lifts early Saturday morning. Game 2 there is the Scorchers up against the Hurricanes. They're over in Perth at Optus Stadium at 8:15 p.m. We don't have to worry about any weather there. Gee, wouldn't it be chaos if both games had some weather conditions around and we're only getting the 2 games for the round? That would cause plenty of headaches. We've got clear skies there, so we should have plenty of cricket played. Key stats at the venue, just the one game at Optus so far, and that was obviously shortened as well. We had that freak sort of weather right when the bat flip was due, and so many people were panicking. That was the first game of the entire season, and it caused plenty of headaches. The game was shortened, really didn't impact players scoring too much. The big players, the Stars, still managed to score plenty of points. You know, the big guns, the big names, even though the game was shortened to just 11 overs. So because the game was shortened, player scores across the board were down a little bit, averaging just 26.7. I don't think we need to read too much into that, given that we're expecting just about double what was bowled in that early game 1. The first innings batters only scored 16 points. The chasing batting team scored 18. But last season, I think, might be a bit more indicative about how these two teams match up with each other. Scorchers allowed 35.5 to the Canes, while the Canes limited Scorchers players to just 24.8. We do know that the Hurricanes were elite last season. They won the tournament and they were just red hot just about all season long, mostly thanks to Mitchie Owen at the top of that order there. We haven't seen him really get to business with the stick yet. I think that was a big reason why the Canes were having so much success. They've had a little bit of trouble so far early on now. I think it'll be a little bit closer than those stats from last season might allude to. Do you think the same, Dill?
Yeah, I'm thinking something similar, and I don't think that's going to impact the decision too much on resting certain Scorchers or not playing certain Scorchers. I think obviously there's some key players that we want to get into our side, and I could see the Hurricanes bouncing back though as well. Obviously, Mitch Owen hasn't had a great start to the tournament, and at some point he's going to fire. I think if there's a place where he's going to fire, it's going to be over at Optus Stadium, where the ball comes onto the bat pretty hard and fast, and I think he likes that quite a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past the Hurricanes and the Scorchers both to have some big games and to have a lot of runs scored.
Right, I want to get into the positional preview, starting with the bat and wicket keepers.
Yeah, so we can see on screen some of the players to target for this round. Obviously, with just the 4 teams, we're sort of limited in who we can pick and where we're going to diversify our squads. But we can see on screen we're looking at players like Cooper Conley and Finn Allen, Josh Philippe, Benny McDermott, and even that Campbell Callaway. I know the last couple of weeks it's been a bit of a joke, but I think he's starting to show a little bit. I think someone in Discord mentioned that he looks more like a Test cricketer rather than a T20 cricketer, and I sort of agree with that as well. But he's still making some runs, so I think he's still, as it says there, he's got an average of 59 GDS points, and for a bat wicket keeper, I think that's a pretty good shout at the moment. I wouldn't be putting it past a bat wicket keeper, even if they're getting anything above 30 at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with that as well. But in terms of those players or any other players outside of that, who are you looking at targeting this week?
Yeah, there's one Hobart Hurricane there on screen who's been having a really good season and has been out batting someone that you, Haz, and I were a little bit higher on, well, certainly me, heading into this season. And that's, of course, Timmy David. He's, been on everyone's lips as a player that they've wanted to have started in the first couple of Hurricanes games. And I think a lot of GDS coaches are getting frustrated with Timmy David very quickly, not spending enough time out in the middle. So my player to target is Benny McDermott, but I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison here between him and Timmy David, see if there's still any life left in the Tim David stocks. But yeah, look, a lot of the coaches on the GDS Discord have already alluded to Tim David as a potential fade or even as far to say on their never again list. He's not in must-fade territory for me. In fact, sneak peek here, he'll actually be in one of my squads a little bit later on. But the safe and the smarter play is definitely Ben McDermott, and he's been so much better than Tim David across all 3 matches. David scored just 56 runs from 45 balls faced, which included a patient 31 off 31 when he had to come in at 3 for 36 against the Stars. So he didn't quite play the way that he normally would. But in his other 2 at-bats, he's arrived at the crease at 2 for 109 and 3 for 131, which is obviously, pretty impactful in terms of how long he can actually spend there at the crease. He's basically just out there and going from ball 1 because a platform has already been set. I'd like him to know that he's got sort of 7, 8, 9 overs to build an innings rather than just having to go straight away from ball 1, which you could be the best batsman in the world and that still might not be beneficial for your point scoring. So comparatively, McDermott has scored 156 runs from 109 balls, so more than double the amount of balls faced. And it's no question why the averages are so different. McDermott out-averages Tim David by 67 points to 29. If we're playing Tim David in our teams, it means we're betting on him getting out into the middle at the perfect time to sort of get in and then accelerate the innings, maybe when the power surge comes on. But by playing McDermott, we're more likely getting someone that's having much more time out in the center and therefore, the opportunity to build an innings, to get going get his eye in, and then accelerating and finding the gaps when he needs to. And ultimately, that's what's been going on for the first 3 rounds. It's just been really nice and favourable for Benny McDermott, and it just hasn't quite yet worked out for Tim David. In saying that, Tim David hasn't all of a sudden forgotten what cricket is or how to bat. There are going to be plenty of matches where he does fire. I think we do need to cool on Timmy David just a little bit. But look, I think at some point he's going to get a lot of coaches and catch them off guard, because he is certainly so capable. Long story short, summarize all of that. Look, I'm starting Benny McDermott in probably most of my squads this week. But I'm certainly wary that a big Tim David innings might not be too far away. So I think, given that I'm eliminated from the Classic Cup, I don't really have to play the safe game there and just hope I select the right players over my opponent. I think it's just going to be pod central, a bit like you said for your challenger team. I'm eliminated from the Classic Cup. I'm going to throw a Timmy David in there and an anti-pod against Benny McDermott. So there won't be a Ben McDermott in that Classic lineup, and I'm going all in on Timmy David. We know what form he was coming into the competition. He's going to have a big knock at some point. It could well be on this Friday night when he's on a nice pitch. The ball's going to come on. He loves that pace coming onto the bat, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him getting rolling now. How many people in the Discord are going to say, I've played him 3 times for nothing? The moment I leave him out, he scores a massive one. Hopefully, I can be the guy there that sends out the screenshot and say, yeah, I stuck strong. I think regardless, he's going to be in my Classic team until he has that big score.
Yeah, definitely. But I 100% agree with everything you said. My concern, though, is we said at the top of the show, Mitch Owen hasn't fired at all.
Yeah.
He hasn't had an opportunity at the top of the order. And what does that mean then for Timmy David if Mitch Owen does fire? We've also got Chowdhury, who's playing really well. He's in some good nick. I think the move up the order for Chowdhury has done him wonders. And the fact probably that he doesn't have to worry too much about rolling the arm over, he's just sort of freed him up a little bit. So we've also got Ahmed that's sort of floating up and down the order as well. Tim David coming out at 5, where we thought, this roll is going to be solid. He's going to take that power surge. He just hasn't seen that. He hasn't had the overs in the middle. And I guess the concern is the moment that Mitch Owen fires, it might be detrimental for Tim David as well. But
maybe,
but that's something that we have to consider.
Yeah, maybe. But last season, Timmy David was unreal, and so was Mitch Owen. In fact, Mitch Owen was a freak. And Tim David still got the job done. Maybe it was because they got off to such a good roll, everyone else could relax a little bit, and it just played into Tim David's hands perfectly. He could get out there at the right time, and he had so much confidence that the platform had already been set. He had a clear mind, and he just had the freedom to go nuts as he wanted. Maybe coming in at 3 for 36, he's been a little bit more patient, obviously, in that innings. And when the others have already done the job around him, and he's only getting in there at the 15th or the 16th over, he hasn't really had that same freedom. But yeah, interesting point that you do raise. It worked last year. Let's get Mitchy Owen firing and see if Timmy David can respond.
And I'm sure we'll talk about Mitch Owen in the all-rounder section a little bit as well. Look, some coaches are going to look at me and think that I've just taken the easy option when talking about batsmen. I still think some coaches think that Cooper Conley is an absolute slam dunk play. And look, I tend to agree that's the case because he has such a big upside. I'm still just nervous about the batting on offer at Optus Stadium. Obviously, we talked through those stats. They are skewed because of that shortened game one to start the season. But look, Conley finished with 59 runs in that first game. It resulted in 80 GDS points. However, outside of that, all of the other listed batsmen from both teams combined for a total of 26 runs. So I'm just a little bit hesitant on Cooper Conley. We saw Finn Allen have a big game last round and contributed quite nicely. And as a result, because of his awesome knock, I came first in champion. We're not going to continue to talk about that, but I just thought I'd bring it up one more time. So look, it was a reduced overs game. We can't read too much into it. It's probably not reflective of the true nature of that Optus Stadium. However, I'm still going in a little bit tentatively because the other thing, on one side, we've got Mitch Owen who hasn't fired. On the other side, we've got Mitchy Marsh who hasn't fired at the top of the order as well. He obviously came out and got that duck and then had not much as a result of that. So a lot of that responsibility has been on the shoulders of Cooper and he's been required to to really build an innings and worked quite nicely with Finn Allen the other night. But there's just so many things there that maybe lead me to think that at some point we're going to see a down game from Cooper Connolly. And I don't think any coach is going to risk not playing him pretty much any week until we probably see that down game. But look, I do think the positives outweigh the negatives. We continue to say Connolly's an absolute cheat code and a must play in that position due to not just the likelihood that he's going to have an over or two with the ball, and there's every chance he takes a wicket, but it's his aggressive nature with the bat. It's the way he's been seeing the ball so well and hitting the ball so well. 2 games, he's had 139 runs, 9 fours and 11 sixes after facing only 68 balls. Like, that is unreal hitting from the young bloke. And he's playing with no fear. And I think I mentioned on the Discord last night that I've got a new rule that I'm not playing any old blokes. I'm done with Lynn. I'm done with Warner. I think it's all about the young blokes in this tournament, and it's the young guns that are performing really well. So until we see anything else from Cooper Connolly, I'm pretty happy to just keep watching him and hope that he continues to add to that massive average that he already has of 98.5. I think that's absolutely massive. And it won't be long till he adds some of those bowling stats as well. So that average could go up into the hundreds pretty easily. And I want to be on him when that does happen. It's just the concern that at some point he's going to have a down game, and we can't predict that, but we just got to have that in the back of our minds that at some point he is going to fail, I think, and hopefully it's not this week.
Gee, a triple figure average through half the competition is going to be pretty awesome, particularly from someone not doing a lot with the ball. Yeah, look, I think if he was listed as an all-rounder, it would be a much different conversation, and we'd probably have to think twice. But yeah, look, while he's a batsman only with the potential to do a lot with the ball as well at times throughout the season. You know, Agar's fitness hasn't been fantastic in recent years. If anything happens to Agar either mid-game or he misses any games, that's definitely when Cooper Connolly stocks will rise in that department. But just having a quick look at some Cooper Connolly stats here at Optus Stadium. He averages 50 runs. He's batted there on 13 occasions. He averages 50 because he's been not out on 6 occasions. So a lot of that would have been, you know, early on in his career when he was coming in at 5, 6, and 7 and finishing those matches. So he's been not out on 6 occasions. He scored 150. He scored 630s, but he has been out for a duck on 2 occasions, 2 out of 13. So I think if we can sit there patiently and watch him get off the mark, then there's every chance he goes on for a decent score, because 2 ducks from 13 hits isn't amazing, but an average of 56 not outs and 6 times he passes 30. Yeah, pretty impressive there. So yeah, he's definitely going okay on that surface. Let's just make sure he can get off the mark. A bit like Finn Allen. We're always nervous until he can get rolling a little bit. Hey, so yeah, Cooper Connolly, 50 average, and there's only a couple of guys that out average him on that stadium, and Marcus Stoinis, Aaron Finch, David Warner, you know, those are 3 of the best short form players that Australia has seen, and Cooper Connolly's comparative to them and played even more fixtures.
And just quietly, it's great to see him going really well. There's a T20 World Cup just around the corner. He has to be in the squad somewhere, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so good. So young, so versatile, can do it with the ball, good in the field, good looking as well, delivers a lot on the commentary side of things if he's mic'd up. So yeah, he just ticks every single box. I think he'll be there, no doubt.
Perfect. All righty, let's jump into the all-rounders now. And look, there's every week, I feel like every round there's a host of all-rounders, and there's so many different options that we could take. And just look on screen there, we've got sort of 6 of some of the best players in the competition at the moment, and there's still probably players that are missing from that list as well. Jackie Edwards leading the pack there on 107 average, which is just enormous. And we obviously had early wraps on Jackie Edwards pre-season, and he's gone and exceeded everything that we talked about as well. Marcus Stoinis is playing out of his skin at the moment. I know the game the other night, he sort of landed a bit funny, and we thought he might be done for the season, the way he was holding his wrist, but he just got back up and kept going and ended up coming out and batting after that as well. Chrissy Jordan, another player who's going well. Aaron Hardy, Tom Curran come out and had a 3-for, bowled quite well. And then that aforementioned Mitch Owen. And like I said, there's people there that we haven't even talked about in terms of Benny Dwarshuis as well that could definitely get a mention somewhere. So out of all of those players, where are you thinking this week with probably your number one target for all-rounder?
Yeah, my number one target might be a little bit different to most. And I think I'll just preface this little section by saying I'm not going to fall into the trap of playing the same 4 all-rounders in every squad or even a mix of 5. I think I'm going to have to be, quite different in terms of the all-rounders I'm playing, because we're seeing some really good scores from some down scores from other. And if you've got the same 4 blokes and you're only hitting 50% of the time, you're missing out on some pretty big scores elsewhere as well. So, yeah, I think the names on the screen there, as well as some additional ones as well, are going to be amongst my squad somewhere. But despite being really down on the averages, you actually have to scroll pretty far down to find this man. But it's Aaron Hardy for me. He's only averaging 33 points. To me, he still seems like a really solid play this round, and probably a lot of rounds moving forward, particularly if Jai Richardson isn't named in that starting 11. Through 2 matches, Aaron Hardy has scored just 33 runs and he's only taken 1 wicket. But it's his role in the team that looks super conducive to fantasy point scoring, which means, that big score that the likes of Jackie Edwards, Marcus Stoinis and the likes have been putting together, that's probably not too far around the corner for Aaron Hardy. He's batting at 4 in that red-hot Scorchers lineup, which means he should see some decent time out there in the centre, whether that's through the middle period where he has to put an innings together, or even later on when he can maybe take that power surge or lift the tempo. He's capable of doing it all, and he's actually been better with the bat in recent seasons. But it's the role that he's getting with the ball that's also really impressive as well, particularly game 1 there without Jai Richardson. We saw him get some key overs with the ball. In match 1 where Richo didn't play, Aaron Hardy actually bowled the final over. That was the 11th over. He didn't get a wicket there, which is a bit disappointing and kind of not too typical. You'd expect someone bowling the final over to get a wicket when the batsmen are just trying to clear the fence. But I think Jackie Edwards sort of hit him for a couple of boundaries and squeaked out some 2s as well. So it didn't pay off, but it's the fact that he got that crucial over that's super important. Jai Richardson now returns and joins the Aussie Ashes squad once again. It'll be great to see him get a game just quietly. Pretty bad for Perth if he misses all of these games for the Scorchers and still doesn't get to play some cricket there for the Aussies now that the series is wrapped up. But because Richo won't be there, Hardy's probably going to have more of a role with the ball as well. And at Perth Stadium, he averages 34.5 runs with the bat at a 135 strike rate, which is pretty handy. He's passed 30 on 3 occasions, and he's even passed 50 on 6 occasions as well. And that's just in 25 matches. With the ball coming onto the bat nicely in Perth, I think he's going to play a key role for the Scorchers. They're going to want to bounce back after a pretty embarrassing record defeat there to the Heat. And we're going to say this a few times tonight, but with no Jai Richardson, someone there is going to have to take wickets. I think he'll do the job with the bat, but he's definitely capable to get a couple of poles with the ball as well.
Yeah, it's kind of that perfect combination for an all-rounder. We know that he's going to get an opportunity to batting as high as 4, and then he's obviously getting some role with the ball as well, which is great to see. You compare that to some of the other all-rounders on that list, like Mitchie Owen, for example. He doesn't get as many overs with the ball, and he hasn't really had that opportunity. Tom Curran, on the other hand, getting all the overs with the ball, but he hasn't seen much opportunity with the bat at all because the team's going so well at the top of the order. So, yeah, someone like Aaron Hardy, he's really just got that opportunity to score a lot of points. And anytime he's got that opportunity, or any player that's got that opportunity, there's so much upside, there's so much ceiling, and there's even a floor there. I think it's a no-brainer to have him in your side, and he's definitely one that I'll be playing. Another one that I've got question marks over, and I really don't know what to do is, and I guess I open it to everyone. What do we all do with someone like Chris Jordan? He's an all-rounder who is really making his mark as a dominant bowler for the Hurricanes. And, we probably haven't seen that for a couple of seasons. He's been around the squad for quite a while, and he seems to just have this knack of taking some wickets now. He hasn't had much chance with the bat. He's batting quite low in the side. So I just don't know where I see him fitting in. And I want him to go so well because I feel like I've got a plan. He's able to take some wickets for fun, and we can see there he's averaging 92 per game, so it's massive. We've got the likes of, as you said, Aaron Hardy, Edwards, Stoinis, Mitch Owen. We've got people like Benny Dwarshuis. Maybe even there's a hint of Sean Abbott maybe returning to the Sixers as well. He could be involved in the competition. We haven't even spoken about Glenn Maxwell. We've got so many all-rounders there. It's just hard to see where Chris Jordan fits into my squad. He'll be there somewhere, though. I just don't know where exactly it is. But I think that's half the appeal as well. I think a lot of coaches are going to be thinking the same thing. So he might end up being that pretty decent pod that we know can do quite well. He's bowled 11 overs so far in his 3 games. He's taken 6 wickets. He's added 20 dot balls. And he's done something quite rare in BBL matches, and that's take a maiden over as well, which, we don't see that too often. And if he's got the ability to restrict the run rates and not let them get a run out at all, I think that's a pretty awesome thing, and we get plenty of points for that as well. He's definitely not that out-and-out three-dimensional player that we want from an all-rounder. However, he looks super fit. He looks super fast with ball in hand. Plus, the big thing for me is the Scorchers have given up the most points to all-rounders so far this season, averaging 57.5 GDS points to that position. We saw Benny Dwarshuis score 51 GDS points against the Scorchers in that game 1. And even though with the limited overs, he came out and batted at 7 on Optus Stadium. So hopefully Chris Jordan might get an opportunity to bat, and he might do quite well. We have seen him with bat in hand, and he can swing it, and he can score some runs. We just haven't really seen it to full effect so far. So hopefully we continue to talk about that Perth deck. It's fast, it's hard. You said the ball will come on nicely. I think if Chrissy Jordan gets out there, he can get some runs, and then he'll back that up with the ball in hand as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that. He's turned the clock back, hasn't he? I think last season he was averaging, I think it was about 33 GDS points for the season, which upon reflection was why, he wasn't really anywhere near our top rankings for all-rounders. He was sort of getting on a little bit. We were thinking, he's not going to do too much better than he did last season. That's probably his ceiling, around that 35 or 40 points. He's certainly proving us wrong to an extent. I'll say that 4 for 19 and the maiden over was incredible there against the Scorchers. But I think he's also been pretty lucky in terms of the scheduling. Let's go back to round 2. Hobart Hurricanes had 2 matches, didn't they? Now, Chrissy Jordan had a pretty bad game 1, but that score was cancelled out. That score was wiped out, and we got his monster 4 for 19 plus maiden over, which is why, he looks to be one of those standout options in the all-rounder position. In that match that got wiped out, given that the Hurricanes had 2 fixtures, he scored 7 runs with the bat and got taken down with the ball, none for 41 from 3 overs, going at 13 and a bit and over. So if that was a score by itself, he'd have an 8 amongst that those scores of his, and that average would be quite a long way down. So I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but he's got those down games in him. If he's not moving the ball like he did the other night against the Renegades, if he doesn't get an opportunity to go out there and hit the ball, we're going to see those sub 10-point scores. And that's maybe why his average was closer to 30 last season when everything leveled out, that if he wasn't taking wickets in clumps and he wasn't getting too much opportunity with the bat, that's why the average was a little bit down. So, I think a lot of coaches are going to gravitate to Chrissy Jordan, and he might be a player that I look to fade in maybe 2 of my squads and just play him 1 just in case. But the reason being that he has had that down game. It's not like hasn't technically averaged 92 points per match, has he? It's 92 points per round because we've wiped out. We've put a nice red line through. We've forgotten about that one match where he did nothing. So, just something to think about. I think that was against the Stars when the Stars sort of blitzed the Hurricanes there. So, I don't think a lot of coaches will be too switched on to that. They'll see the massive number 92 there. They'll whack him in all of their teams. I'm just praying I'll look pretty silly, won't I, if he goes on for another 3 for 15 and a mate and gets out there and pumps 20 runs. Everyone will be going, what were you talking about? This guy's a freak. But just something to think about.
It always happens.
Yeah, it's just the scheduling. If that wasn't a double game for the Canes, that average would be down a little bit, wouldn't it?
And then you look across then and look at Mitchie Owen's current average of 27, and you consider that as well, that he did have a 0 in there, and that was obviously cancelled out as well. So it could be even worse. Is he someone that you're going to go back to, or are you going to wait and see and whether he can prove himself, or is he still in that territory where he's almost a must play based on what we saw from him last season?
He is a player that I'll be looking to play in probably 2 squads again. I probably can't roll him out in all 3, but we just know how good he can be. A lot like Tim David, we've seen it. He's done it for seasons. Mitchie Owen's done it for 2 seasons now. Mitchie Owen's role is a lot better, obviously. He just hasn't clicked yet. He scored so well at the top of the innings last season for the Hobart Hurricanes. It just hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen at some point, and the moment it does, coaches are going to be flocking straight back to him. So just looking at the averages in terms of this season, typically we look at the batsman position as someone that's, rocks or diamonds, super volatile, and their big scores are always wiped out sort of by the little scores. But obviously the stats and the average scores and the total points is dominated by all-rounders, but it's the batsmen that are doing really well as in comparison to those all-rounders, and are featured quite heavily at the top of the overall rankings in terms of averages. It's not the bowlers. It's not the guys getting 2 wickets a match. It's the guys that have these massive ceilings and can have that really big innings. And let's face it, Mitchie Owen, he is basically a batsman, although he's got an all-rounder tag. We're probably not going to see too many overs from him unless there's maybe a mid-game injury. He'll be a fantastic must-play the moment he is getting 2 or 3 overs. But let's just say that that's not going to happen. He's effectively a batsman, isn't he? But look, on the total averages, we've got Cooper Conley just shy of 100. We've got Timmy Seifert and Josh Philippi up above 70. Matty Renshaw's above 70. Finn Allen, 71. That's amongst all of these all-rounders. The only bowler there is Luke Wood, who scored 94 in his first match. Scroll down a little bit further. We got Ben McDermott, another batsman. Campbell Kellaway's 60 points, another batsman. And then we've got Harris Ralph there at 60 as well. So it's the batsmen that are dominating early on, the batsmen that can just go huge, and they're, outscoring and out-averaging the bowlers that are chipping in for, the 1 or 2 wickets, getting plenty of death, but, not a lot of runs with the bat. So with that in mind, we just need that one big score from Mitchie Owen to get things going and the confidence back. He's probably down on confidence a little bit. He just wants to clear the fence every single ball, and it's just not happening, is it? So let's hope he's changed a few things up. Let's hope he gets a few out of the middle early on. But yeah, that big game's not too far around the corner. And yeah, that's why he's definitely going to feature in one of my teams.
I feel like we say that for a few blokes, that their big game's just around the corner. But yeah, hopefully for Mitch Owen's sake it is. Obviously we saw him have that dominance in the last couple of games, especially that grand final last season where he was unreal. Yeah, so hopefully we can get that again. And as you say, there's not a huge likelihood that he is going to bowl, with the likes of Ahmed getting a few. And then we've got others there that Chowdhury is probably slightly ahead of him in terms of the next bowler up. We know Timmy David can roll his arm over as well. So there's quite a few options there at the Hurricanes. And they're only going to be boosted when Bo Webster comes back as well at the end of the test duties. So, yeah, we might not see Mitch Owen get the ball at all, which is a bit of a shame. But like you said, for all intents and purposes, if we think about him as a batsman and play him like a batsman, then there's going to be some games where he has a 0 or even a -2 to his name.
Yeah, fair call.
Alrighty, let's jump into our bowlers. And once again, we've got a host of bowlers that we can choose from this week, even with only the 4 teams available. Harris Ralph has been going unreal, currently sitting on an average of 60 points. Nathan Ellis probably yet to really fire. His teammate Riley Meredith is probably someone that people are looking at as well. Peter Siddle's been pretty good in turning back the clock a bit. I think they said the other night he's the 6th oldest player to be playing in the Big Bash. I think they said Bradley Hogg potentially was, what was he, 46 or something, still playing, which is absolutely ridiculous. So maybe Sid's has still got another 5 years in him. And then Kane Richardson as well to round out some of our bowlers. Where are you thinking this week, mate? We got some decent bowlers there. Is there someone that you want to pick up that maybe you haven't looked at this season so far?
Yeah, there is. And that's, I think, the forgotten man, Riley Meredith. He likes Perth. Let's start off there. In 6 matches at Perth, he's gone wicketless just once. He's claimed a wicket every 16.3 balls. So, look, we know the Scorchers have a pretty destructive batting lineup, particularly after that 250-point score against the Heat, where they went more than 11 and over. They went more than 11 and over, chasing down the Sixers on the opening night. So we know that they can get it done with the bat. But Look, I think Riley Meredith is definitely capable of getting a few, even if it's junk wickets. I think he's definitely going to be amongst the wickets column here for the Canes. And I think he's going to be a pretty nice pod that's going to feature in a couple of my sides this week. Ideally, to be a little bit more confident in picking Riley Meredith, I would like to see the Canes bowling first, meaning that they're guaranteed to bowl 20 overs, meaning he'll probably get 1 or 2 early on, 1 during the surge and 1 late. And it's those late overs or the surge overs where they're going after him, where it's a slight miss hit or he beats them with pace and it's a handy wicket like he does pretty often there on Optus Stadium. You know, he's obviously coming up against Mitchy Marsh early on. He hasn't been in a lot of form. Marsh will want to hit himself out of that form slump, and that's when someone like Riley Meredith can strike. Finn Allen is pretty similar. He wants to get going from ball 1. If he's not set or if he gets beaten for pace on the bouncy wicket as well, that's again where someone like Riley Meredith with his massive speed can pick up an early wicket. So this season, it doesn't look pretty. 1 wicket from 3 matches, meaning I think that means a lot of coaches are going to look past him and just scroll on. But look, fantasy cricket's just a funny game, isn't it? It doesn't take much for quality bowlers to get amongst the wickets, and he is a quality bowler. Look, he's looking a long way off where he was last season. He took the 2nd most wickets in the competition. That's why I think he's the forgotten man. He's not just, you know, some random player that can get 4 wickets. He got the 2nd most wickets last season with 16, and he had a GDS average of 48 points, which is pretty handy. I'm not saying he's going to get amongst those heights and get that average back up there, but he's obviously got some big games in him. He can take wickets. Hurricanes themselves just haven't looked amazing. They're hopefully going to regroup and improve shortly. I think that might start this round for Riley Meredith. The conditions are going to suit. They're far more favourable than he's been playing on at Hobart, Geelong and the MCG. This is the week he goes big, and I want him in my squad while he hasn't shown a lot beforehand.
Yeah, and I guess on the other side, someone like Nathan Ellis, I don't think showed a huge amount either. We always preface the conversation about Nathan Ellis with the fact that he likes to limit the runs more than take wickets.
So annoying
a lot of the time. So it is so frustrating. So I think playing someone like Riley Meredith is that perfect option for him to bounce back, take 3 or 4 potentially, and sort of get back into that positive column in terms of the wickets. And the concern I always have is that they've got some unreal bowlers in that group, and they might be shared and have one wicket each, and that just minimises the impact that you have with a player like Riley Meredith. But yeah, I think that's definitely someone that, as you say, people aren't going to look at. So a genuine pod option, I think, for this week, which is always good in your side, and you're going to need pods, particularly in a double game round when it's just those 2 games that are included in the round. Look, I really wanted to come on the show this week and pump up Harris Ralph for the 3rd week in a row. I'm not going to. He was unreal the other night, taking his 3 for. That was awesome to see. And as we said, he keeps putting in so much effort and keeps ending up on the deck a lot of the time. But that just shows how much he's trying to get a wicket. But look, I'm going to talk about Kane Richardson, and I'm going to preface this by saying at time of recording, we don't have squads yet. We know that he missed a couple of games early, and there is potential for Sean Abbott to be back around the squad as well. He's been released by the Australian Ashes side. He's not in that squad. So there is obviously still some question marks over Sean Abbott's health. I know he was working on some rehab there. So, look, I'm going in at the moment with Kane Richardson being in the squad and being named in the 11. That could change in 24 hours, 48 hours time, but we'll just have to wait and see. But look, a lot of what I'm going to say about Richardson probably also applies to Harris Ralph anyway. So I guess a lot of that conversation you could apply to Harris Ralph and probably pick him for similar reasons. But Richo's one bowler that I'm pretty keen on, and for 2 reasons. One, the SCG surface and the limited bowling options that the Sixers have at the moment. They really only have sort of the 1 or 2 bowling options. And in fact, after 3 games, the Sixers have had a combined total of 6 straight bowling options. So that's not including the all-rounders or the batsmen that bowl. It's just purely out-and-out bowling options available on GameDay squad. And of those 6, I think there was 3 or 4 double-ups there. So they don't have too many options that you can pick from. And if you do want to pick a Sixer, more than likely it's going to be either Richardson or probably Mitch Perry, who's been in and around the squad as well. So for me, it just means that a lot of those overs are being divided amongst the all-rounders, and Richardson's got this perfect opportunity to just lead that strike attack of the bowling and that pace attack. He returned to the side in that Sydney smash and had an immediate impact. He finished with stats of 3.1 overs. He took a wicket and had 9 dot balls, plus he had a catch in the field as well. So he had some decent stats for his first game. In the previous game at the SCG, the Quicks dominated the attack with the likes of Edwards, Dwarshuis and Perry all getting their full allotment. Kerr had a couple as well to back them up. So I expect Richo to lead that pace attack if he's in the side. And really, I hope that he is in the side and he does lead that pace attack because he is unreal when he is on. And it's great to watch. In terms of the SCG deck, the pace bowlers at SCG this season have averaged 54.8 GDS points. So that's fast and medium paces. And the way we've seen that the boom or bust nature of some quicks as well. Look, we talk about Xavier Bartlett the last couple of weeks, and we can see he doesn't take a wicket. He's not in the points at all. And I think anything above 50 for me, or a couple of wickets and maybe 3 or 4 5 dot balls, I think that's enough to go, yeah, I'm going to play Kane Richardson in my squad. So I really hope that he is able to take a couple of wickets in this spell. And really sort of get to that 50-plus points. I think that'll be ideal for me. So, yeah, I'm looking at Kane Richardson, albeit with that preface that he might not get named. And on top of that, Abbott might be in the squad as well, which might take away from Richardson. But at this stage, I'll be playing Kane Richardson.
Yeah, I think without Abbott in there, he's almost guaranteed, some of those crucial overs alongside the likes of Benny Dwarshuis or Jackie Edwards. With Sean Abbott amongst the mix, he tends to sort of leapfrog that list and get the key ones, particularly the 20th, which is, most conducive to wicket taking. But without him in the squad, I think the Kane Richardson pick looks even better. He's been a gun short form bowler for a long time. He has battled injury recently in his career. I think he's only played a handful of matches in all forms of cricket this year, and he's had a bit of a break since August and really only returned for that match there against the Thunder. So yeah, a little bit more, some more games under his belt. I think he's going to get better and better throughout the season. And gee, when those Sydney Sixers get their full strength team back, they're going to be another really tough team to get on top of. Hey, I think he'll get the job done with the ball. He's in one of my squads as well, but like you said, we haven't got access to the squad of 14 or 15 yet. We haven't seen the bat flip. I think that can change. I think we can be really flexible with who we can roll out there, but he's been a gun player for Australia in the past. He's 35, but look, who cares when we've seen what Siddle can do at 40. He's Richardson's still getting into his peak years, isn't he? I think the bowling lineup spot for GameDay squad is going to be might make or break and win or lose some coaches their classic cups. I think it's going to be a really interesting one, and I don't think you can go wrong with Kane Richardson. So yeah, good shout.
Coming from another 35-year-old, Kane Richardson's looking in absolute unreal form. Physically. Look, I'll pose a question to you before we move on. I know we've been sitting here chatting for a long time, and we thought that this was going to be a lot quicker than our previous shows.
Oh, wow, we have. Yeah.
We love to sit here and talk cricket. Look, just quickly, young gun Marley Beardman probably back in the side for the Scorchers with Jai Richardson off to the Ashes squad. He hasn't had a great start to the season. He came away from that shortened season opener with 4 dot balls from his 2 overs, which albeit was his full allotment. But that's all he got out of that. Similar thing occurred last season. On debut, he took very little. The next game up, he took a 3-for with 8 dot balls. As I said, Richo's not in the side. Do we expect that Beardman might be as good second up this season again like he was last season, or are we happy to fade him?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He's a very talented young player, and he's someone that Perth have invested a lot of time and energy into. So they're going to want to give him as many opportunities as possible. I think with Jai Richardson not in the squad, that only increases his stocks. And yeah, maybe he just needs that one game under his belt to shake the rust off. Look, there are so many different options that obviously can go well. You just want to look at the quality and maybe the matchup and even the bat flip could determine if you stick with Beardman or you pivot to someone else like Kane Richardson. Maybe if you look at that bat flip and you see that the Scorchers, if the Scorchers are bowling first, you lock in Beardman. If they're not, then you look to pivot to maybe one of the Hurricane bowlers. So he's probably not someone I'll jam into every squad, but we know how talented he is. He's going to be one of these quicks. that we're talking about for a long, long time. He's going to be the likes of, he's touted to be a Scotty Boland, Joshy Hazelwood type. So let's not put too much pressure on him right now. But he's definitely performed in the Big Bash already. He's not going to perform every match, but again, that's the same as every bowler. It's just about trying to find out the best matchup. And I think with No Jai Richo there, that's when he's likely to excel with some of the better bowlers and the bigger names around him. He might just, hit line and length and get the job done. When there's No Jai Richo there, his role and his workload increases a little bit, and he might be asked to do a little bit more and bowl some of the more difficult overs, which can obviously result in some fantasy points. So, yeah, I don't mind it. We're going to see some big games from him. If you can pick the right one, then good on you. But I think, whatever he scores, it's going to be pretty similar to a lot of other options this round, unless he can get a big 3-for.
Yeah, let's hope so. He was probably my young gun at the tournament pre-season, so let's hope he can have a big game. Alrighty, let's jump across and have a look at the FantasyBros consensus 11 for round 5. And we can see there our tried and trusted Josh Phillippe at the top there in the wicketkeeper position. We've gone Finn Allen and Cooper Conley, the double there from these Perth Scorchers, as well as Benny McDermott to round that batsman lineup out. Then in our all-rounder spot, we've got Jack Edwards, Marcus Stoinis, Chris Jordan just makes his way into the side along with Aaron Hardy. And then our bowling lineup is the Stars double in Ralph and Siddle, followed by Nathan Ellis. So a couple of options there. Obviously, we've talked about some different options as well. So hopefully we've given you some good insight into some potentials. We've got a couple of pods obviously on screen as well. We just talked about Marley Beardman and we've talked about Mitchie Owen a little bit as well. We really hope that both of them can have some big games. And I think both of them are going to be some pods, probably in my Challenger side. As I said, that I've got the least investment now in the Challenger side. So they'll probably find their way into that Challenger side. Alrighty, into Brodown Showdown. Probably my favourite part of the preview shows now. I'm well on my way to just exceeding all expectations. I know I had a tough Brodown Showdown in the rugby league season against you, Stu, but I'm clawing my way back. And as you can see on screen, the Bros, we went with Renshaw, Bartlett, and Short across, and obviously Matty Short had the big game and meant that I had the win in the Brodown Showdown. So those people that commented my name in either the live stream or post show, you're going to go in the draw in a minute to win some unreal prizes. What that means is, though, for everyone else, there's still plenty of opportunity. In a moment, we're going to go to our round 5 Brodown Showdown, and it's really easy to get involved. All you need to do is comment who you think will win out of the 3 bros, whether it'll be Haz, Stu, or myself, Dill. Comment our name, and you are in the draw to win if the player that you or the coach that you select does win. Alrighty, so talking about winners, let's have a look at our wheel today for Brodown Showdown, and let's hopefully get this up on screen. Stu, are you able to see that there, mate?
Yes. Yep, got it now.
So we can see Maxi, Izzy, TC, BBB, Timo, and Jays all commented Dill to win the Brodown Showdown, so they are in the running. Let's spin the wheel and see who's winning today. Oh, Timo, it's just past you, mate. Jays 24.87. Unreal there, Jays. Alrighty, let's see. I believe, Stu, you've got a couple of packs ready to open. One pack's going to go to me. Yep. The second pack is going to go to Jays.
Is my pack on screen?
Here we go. You've got it. Unfortunately, we do have a whole bunch of All-Stars that we are going to open. So we've got a couple of rare All-Stars. But if you have been following along on Discord, all the All-Stars are gone. So we're not quite sure how this goes. So maybe an All-Star is replaced with Diamonds. I'm not sure.
Or Legends. Who knows?
Maybe All Legends. That's it.
All right. Who's this pack going to?
The rare. This pack's going to Jays. Let's go Jays first up.
Okay. All right. Good luck, Jays. All right, starting with a gold Weigman, another gold in Aaron Hardy.
Nice.
And to round it off, 3 golds. Paddy Cummins, I've been seeing him
Paddy
quite a lot lately, and it's quietly. People are going to want to get his card for when he does make a long-awaited return to the Big Bash. Well done, Jays. Hit me up, hit Stewie up on Discord if you're there. Do we know who Jays is, Dill?
Oh, Paddy Cummins. Yeah, Paddy Cummins. Nice. Alrighty, let's Yeah, we do. I do remember. I'll have to work it out. It was someone we know quite well. Let me double check while you're opening my pack for me.
All right. And Dill, his pack for winning Brodown Showdown that I'm giving him for losing the week. Let's see who Dill's going to take home. He starts with the gold as well.
Yeah, let's go.
Alex Ross.
Please, sweetologist.
Riley Meredith. Is he going to get a start in your team?
Here we go. There we go. He'll go straight into my challenger side.
And an Aaron Hardy as well.
Hey,
there you go. A pretty handy trio. Congratulations.
Look, Jays is a good friend over on Discord. Jays is Sloth Kings over on Discord. Shout out to Sloth Kings, Jays. Well done, mate. Congratulations. He won the Glenn Maxwell All-Star from us pre-season.
Well done, Jays.
He's cleaning up. All you need to do is comment who you think. And our round 5 selections are on screen. We'll remind you that we do rotate through the all-rounder bat and bowling position each and every week. So we each have a crack at Cooper Conley and Jack Edwards most weeks. So this week has gone Jackie Edwards, obviously has took out the first Brodown Showdown. Stu, you've gone with Cooper Conley. You're on a big donut there, so hopefully you can improve on that. And I have taken the bowling option of Harris Ralph after his 3 for the other night, and I'm on 2, so I'm out in the lead at the moment. So I'm pretty happy if, Stu, you win this one. So it means I still keep that lead nice and comfortably. But as I said, all you need to do is comment who you think is going to win, has Stu or Dill, and you could be in the running for some unreal cards on the show next week.
And while you're commenting, may as well drop a like on the video on the Fantasy Bros YouTube page and click the subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Trying to get a whole heap more involved heading into the rugby league and the Aussie rules season, obviously, where that's just going to be absolutely massive. So if you're enjoying the content so far, if we steered you into a couple of winners, you've gotten a couple of free cards from us. Yeah, give us a Chrissy present, drop that thumbs up and hit subscribe. That'll be fantastic.
Unreal. All righty. And that is the end of our show. Good luck to everyone for the upcoming round of the Boxing Day double header. Don't forget it is double prize round as well. So everything you win, it is doubled. We're coming to you again for the round 6 live preview. We'll be back live. It is a Saturday show, so a little bit different from normal. Nice Saturday evening from 5 o'clock Eastern, Australian Eastern Standard Time. It'll be on the Fantasy Bros YouTube channel. So make sure, as Stu said, like and subscribe. Share it with all your mates. Don't forget that promo code SUMMER, SUMMER, all caps for anyone that is signing up. That is new users keen to get involved. That'll get you 3x3 player common packs to get your team started. Thank you to everyone. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a great Boxing Day. We will catch up with you in about a week's time. Good luck for the round. Stu, good luck, mate. Have a good one.
You too, mate. See you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode by the Fantasy Bros. If you want to show your support, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Also, make sure you check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search @FantasyBros AU.